Back on Inside Tennessee with Knox County Superintendent Bob Thomas. Susan.
You were talking about the literacy and the low scores and so forth. Are those the CUF schools, are they also some of the magnet schools?
Yes.
And why is that? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought magnet schools were supposed to be superior and have gifted students and so forth, but they're the ones that are failing in the literacy.
That's correct. I think it's time for us to really look at our magnet schools and what we're providing, and that was one of the reasons for the recommendation. The decision wasn't made in isolation. There were a few mixed messages, I guess, about in terms of magnet and the other types of things that go on with providing a magnet, and in terms of time and looking at teacher time, and are we really focusing on and honing in on the basics in terms of reading and math and science and that sort of thing. So I think we need to pause and take a look at what we're doing, and again, what is so disheartening to me is that students that leave elementary school are not prepared for middle school. If they're behind in their reading and literacy, then they enter high school, we expect them to make a 21 or better on the ACT. If
they can't read, they can't.
And that's right. If they can't read, they can't. And our district average over the last 17 years with ACT is about 20.3. If you just look at our graduates, we're 21.1, and the state's goal is to have an average ACT score of 21. We've got 5 high schools right now that meet that, but there's 11 that don't. There's a few that are actually close. And 2 of our high schools that are actually grad schools. The 17-year average, one of them is 15.4 on the ACT, and the other one is 16.7. So to get to 21
it's a big stretch.
Is leap. And the ACT, and I want to be fair to our teachers and our principals because they work extremely hard with the students, and I don't want to take away from what they've done, but it's my responsibility and it's the district's responsibility. Are we doing everything we can to support our schools, our teachers, our principals? We've looked at developing some micro teams that we've actually started getting into, especially the schools that are at-risk schools. And when I say a micro team, that's made up of our very best content people, math, science, reading, and our grade level directors who are both really good. They have experience at their grade level, elementary, and then also middle and high. So we're getting in those schools. It's not to tell people do it this way, but it's our job to support our teachers to look and make sure that we're using the best instructional practices. One thing we've done too in this budget is we've extended the teacher contract in our 4 CUSP schools. We've gone from a 200-day to a 216-day. What that does, provides teachers a little bit more incentive to stay because there's so much turnover. Mm-hmm. Teaching is hard everywhere, but it's extremely hard in the inner city schools. So that time will be used for some staff development in some of the schools. It also will be used to provide some extended day time for students. So we're hoping to see a difference there with better training for our teachers. But when I talk about schools and proficiency and so forth, I do want to communicate. I know our folks work extremely hard. It is my job and our job to provide them everything they need to try to help them to do what they do better, and that's part of what the reallocation is about. And we're also working with the National Institute NIET for educational training and providing our staff. Next year we'll start hopefully in these schools. We're providing teachers with some best practices and more collaboration, more teacher leadership, things of that nature. So.
Mr. Thomas, April the 30th is when the school board is set to take this up again, and I'm just wondering, I know there was a huge turnout the other week to talk about the proposed cuts. Come April the 30th, are we going to be right back at the start there facing that, or do you feel pretty confident this can get worked out so that those folks, some of whom are watching right now, are like, well, it's okay, he took care of it and they're not going to cut my programs?
And if you keep it to 30 seconds, that would help.
Well, we're still looking. Again, as I said, Project Grad did come back with an MOU where a reduced price in terms of what they would provide the services for. And I do think that what they provide is beneficial. So I'm certainly willing to take another look at it, and hopefully by that time we're going to have some additional revenue numbers. We'll see when we get those numbers from the state. It could be a worse picture, it could be a better picture. We just don't know yet.
And magnet schools?
In magnet schools, again, we're still looking at everything in totality.
All right, Superintendent Thomas, that's our time this morning. Thanks very much
Yeah,
for your
thank
time.
you, John.
Appreciate
Thank
it. We're back with two candidates who want to be your next commissioner right after this.